Dory Clark with Smith College Executive Education. Welcome to our course, Take Control of Your Online Reputation. In this lesson, we'll talk about going social, using Facebook, Twitter, and other forms of social media to build your brand. First, we'll discuss why you should use social media channels. Second, I'll help you decide which ones to use. And third, we'll talk about what you should post and how often. We know LinkedIn is relevant professionally, but can other channels be used in a professional context as well? It turns out that any social channel can be used professionally if you're clear about your goals and your target audience. Your decision about which channels to use depends on who you're trying to reach. You shouldn't stress out about having to be on every social channel. Focus. Pick one or two besides LinkedIn and dive in. So how do you pick which channels to use? Think first about your target audience. Who are they? Where do they spend their time online? If you're trying to reach opinion leaders, Twitter is usually a good bet. Many influential people use Twitter. Newspaper reporters and editors, politicians, heads of large advocacy groups, corporate leaders. If you're following them, retweeting their posts or tweeting them questions, you can begin to build a real relationship through Twitter. Certainly, you also have to think about Facebook. With over 800 million daily active users, Facebook is great for business-to-consumer outreach. 63% of Fortune 500 companies are active on Facebook. Just as one example of how Facebook can be useful professionally, a while back I was posting some business advice on my Facebook page. A journalist friend of mine liked my posts and invited me to contribute to her magazine's blog. As a result of that, a public radio producer read the blog and invited me to be a guest on her show, which became a regular gig for several years. People see your content and it can be beneficial for you professionally. If you have a visually oriented profession, such as photography, architecture, art, it can be useful to deploy channels that prioritize the visual image. Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram accounts can really showcase your work. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Google+, which is far less popular in traffic than Facebook, but provides a little extra search engine juice if you're using it regularly, because Google really wants to incentivize people to get active there. Finally, what kind of content should you post, and how often should you post it? People are often curious about the mix of personal versus professional content. A useful rule of thumb is that you should strive for an 85-15 ratio of professional to personal content. So for example, maybe 85% of what you post is sales advice, if that's your field, and 10-15% is about your favorite ball team or your favorite hobby. You want to have just enough personal content to spice it up and show who you are as a person. That way people can begin to say, oh, I know who she is, I know what she likes, and build a connection with you personally. Examples of useful content include blog posts, pictures you've taken, or content that you curate and share. You don't have to create it all yourself. You can share inspirational quotes or repost articles that you've found interesting and useful. All of this creates good content. How often you post depends on the channel and the impact you're trying to make. Twitter requires that you post more frequently because of the sheer volume of tweets shared on a daily basis. So to be effective, you want to use Twitter regularly, certainly at least daily, and often many times a day. This is easy to do if you use services like Hootsuite or TweetDeck. Both are social media management dashboards that allow you to pre-schedule your content. You can get the bulk of your posting done in 30 minutes to an hour per week. If you use a blog like WordPress, posting once a week is fine. For Facebook or LinkedIn, think about posting updates a few times a week. Here's the good news for your time management. You don't want to or have to overwhelm people. The key is to see how people respond to your content through comments, questions, or backlinks, and adapt accordingly. How do you handle the deluge of information that's coming at you? A couple of quick tips. On Twitter, you can create lists of people you want to pay attention to. You can group the types of people you want to follow on these lists. Maybe you have thought leaders in your profession, maybe you have Smith alumni or Smith Executive Education alumni as a group, or maybe you follow the top leaders of your own corporation. By creating lists, you can get a quick scan of what people are thinking and saying. On Facebook, it's worth noting that if someone is posting all the time and clogging your feed, you don't have to take the drastic step of unfriending them. You can simply unfollow them, and you'll still be friends, but their information won't appear in your feed. So there are many ways to go social. Find the channels that work for you and your target audience. Create and curate meaningful content and post strategically. Now it's your turn. By the end of this week, review and complete the assignments for this lesson.